Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the 6th annual Circular Austin Showcase. My name is Kat Moulton and I coordinate business innovation initiatives with the Circular Economy team. So if you attended last year's event and it feels like you were just here in this space, it's probably because you were. We typically host this event in the fall, and this is the first time that we're hosting it in the late spring. So thank you all for coming less than a year out. Can I see a show of hands? Is this anyone's first time attending this event? Wow, like half the room. That's amazing. Thanks for being here and supporting circular businesses. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to the space that we're in tonight. Tonight's venue, we're here at the Cathedral. Not only is this a beautiful venue, but it's a great example of adaptive reuse in the built environment. This used to be home to the New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, and now it still serves as a community gathering space during the day. It's a co-working space. It hosts events like the one here tonight, and it also has a gallery space, so you see all the beautiful artwork on the walls. Tonight's event focuses on businesses and entrepreneurs in the circular economy. For those who are unfamiliar, a circular economy is a system that keeps materials in use at their best and highest use for as long as possible. So that's different than our typical linear economy that we participate in most of the time, where things are extracted and then manufactured, used, and then thrown away at the end of their life. Our goal is really to keep things in a closed loop, kind of like how nature works. So if a tree falls in the forest, there's no waste from that tree. It all gets reabsorbed and goes back into other living organisms. We're here because the city has a goal of reaching zero waste, which means diverting 90% of materials from landfills and incinerators, which is a difficult word to say. And we can't do that without circular businesses. So as the city's solid waste department, we are responsible for all of the waste management here in the city, but we only touch about 15% of it, so we need folks like the ones that you're going to hear from tonight to help us out with the rest of it. Circular business models show up in all different types of ways, and a couple of examples are last year, our grand prize winner of the showcase was Heartening. They take in materials that have been donated by individuals and redistribute them at free to no cost within the community. So really they're looking to extend the life of objects and make sure that they find a second user. With the $10,000 that they won last year, they were able to increase their staff wages to pay a living wage. They were able to expand the footprint of their facility by, I think, almost 4 times, and they were able to weatherize their little freestand that they have where anyone can take what they need. Completely different model with Frontier Resource Recovery, who won the Accelerator Division last year. They recapture agricultural waste and turn it into biochar. And then that biochar is used to remediate PFAS, which are typically called forever chemicals, and phosphorus runoff from waterways. With their $2,000 in winnings last year, they were able to pay for some of their lab tests to further their research. You'll also see other types of business models here today. Tonight's program is one of many that the city offers to support circular businesses. We've got 4 businesses coming out of the Circular Accelerator program. That's for early stage ideas. Some of them aren't even operational for entrepreneurs in this space. They had a very arduous 15-week program leading up to this event tonight. They received free business coaching, mentorship, networking events, and this is kind of the capstone of what you'll see. They've refined their business models over that time period. So that's who you'll hear from tonight in the Circular Accelerator Division. They're going to be competing against each other for a $2,000 prize. Immediately following the Circular Accelerator division, we'll go into the Grand Prize Circular Showcase division. These are going to be more established businesses. They submitted written applications last fall. They've been in operation for at least a year. They met some revenue requirements, and they have focuses on the circular economy, zero waste, or sustainability. And these are the 4 businesses that you will hear from tonight in that division. They're pitching tonight for the chance at a $10,000 prize to further their business operations. A bit of a rundown on how tonight's going to work. You're going to hear from 8 businesses, the ones you just saw, 4 in each division. They're going to have 4 minutes to pitch, and then they're going to have 4 minutes of Q&A with the judges. The main things that they'll be judged on are their economic, social, and environmental impact or potential for impact. And yeah, those are the prizes that I just talked about. All right, so speaking of judges, we have tonight's panel sitting over here. First up, we have Jeff Blickman. Jeff Blickman is a director at Palm Venture Studios, an early-stage family office-backed firm in Austin. They're focused on business development, platform initiatives, and transaction execution. Previously, he was the founding director of Alturas Ventures and director of global impact at Carnival Corporation and PLC, drawing on 2 decades of experience in finance, product management, and strategic innovation to support purpose-driven entrepreneurs. Let's give it up for Jeff. I also want to say that the judges are volunteering their time tonight to evaluate these pitches, so thank you very much for being here. Next up, we have Bart Bond, who's been a longtime friend of the Circular Economy Program and judge of this competition. Bart leads Starburst Texas to build its aerospace, defense, and startup communities in the San Antonio to Austin corridor. He is a partner with ATP, an early-stage venture capital firm investing in deep tech startups tackling humanity's toughest challenges. Bart teaches entrepreneurial finance at the University of Texas at Austin and is part of the New Texas Futures team, which convenes an ecosystem to build a positive innovation community. Let's give it up for Bart. Next, we have Nancy Lyon, who is the director of the Austin Community College Bioscience Incubator, where she works with entrepreneurs, economic development interests, and academic institutions and other stakeholders to support the life science economy. She manages a fully equipped, leasable lab space that provides critical and otherwise cost-prohibitive infrastructure to emerging startups. She served 3 terms on the board of directors of Austin Creative Reuse and is a regular volunteer coach at Fix-It clinics, where she helps residents repair broken jewelry items. She is a molecular biologist by training and a helpful problem solver by choice. Let's give it up for Nancy. Rounding out the panel, we have Alina Sanchez, who is the founder and principal of Accelerating Purpose, a strategy and innovation consultancy that partners with leaders to design what's next. Her work spans strategic planning, leadership coaching, and innovation labs for clients including Comcast, Berkshire Hathaway, and Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, as well as the City of Austin and nonprofits focused on economic mobility. She brings a strength-based, listening-first approach grounded in the belief that the best ideas accelerate when, I didn't fit it all on one page, purpose, people, and possibility align. Alina is a partner at Social Venture Partners Austin, a member of the Austin Chamber Education and Workforce Council, and serves on the advisory council of Blackland Community Development Corporation. All right, let's hear it for the judges. Thanks for volunteering your time. I think you've heard enough of my rambling. Let's jump into the accelerator cohort for tonight. These are going to be the early stage entrepreneurs and businesses that are competing for the $2,000 prize. And first up, we have Regenysys, pitched by co-founder and commercial lead Regenysys Miranda Longo. Regenysys Miranda Longo is taking on a 4 million ton a year problem, styrofoam. She brings sustainability and agribusiness experience from Cornell, plus go-to-market leadership at Shopify. Her husband and co-founder, Dr. August Longo, brings a PhD in chemistry from UT Austin, chemical engineering from Cornell, and experience from ExxonMobil's recycling group. Together, they're building Regenysys, the first chemically regenerable alternative to styrofoam. It's really hard to go first. Make some noise.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Super excited to be here. To tell you the story of Regenysys, I'm going to start at the beginning. Okay. 20 years ago, August was a little boy at a science fair creating science fair projects on degradable and materials and landfills. Meanwhile, I was creating music videos in Spanish to educate little kids on where to throw their trash. It is in YouTube, go look it up. 20 years later, here we are as one team tackling this problem of waste. But that's a really big problem. So where do we begin? Well, during his time at ExxonMobil, during his time at UT Austin, Augie began tackling this by researching and finding that while there's been a lot of advancements in the field when it comes to biodegradable or bio-based and compostable materials, there's still a big gap in the market and in waste when it comes to styrofoam or EPS. The reason being that there's a lot of use cases like insulation and construction and protection that need materials that are built to last. But see, this puts us in a conundrum because on one hand, you need a house built with styrofoam panels that are not going to biodegrade, but then at the end of their life, you end up with landfills full of EPS or styrofoam. These landfills are predominantly in Hispanic and Black communities, especially here in Austin, and attempts to get rid of them often do more bad than good, hence why we can't recycle styrofoam here in Austin. So what happens? We end up with over 4 million tons of EPS waste in the United States alone per year. The emissions that this amounts to is the equivalent of driving a car around the world 1 million times. And that's just in the United States alone. And so what is the solution? Well, over his PhD, which he just graduated on Sunday, so we're really proud of him, he created an alternative. And this alternative is a chemically degradable material, so you can degrade it when you want it to be intentionally in a low energy process. And not only that, but you can take the materials that it dissolves back into and put it back into the system. 95% of it recovered, meaning we have a closed loop for the styrofoam alternative. This is huge, and we want it to start right here in Austin, Texas, so that Austin can be the place where this material can revolutionize and reduce these emissions by 90% and reduce the energy required by 80% and ultimately take away that burden on our landfills. We're really excited. And so this is where Regenysys comes in. In regular styrofoam production, you have companies that make the pellets and sell it to manufacturers, and they mold it into the helmets or the panels or whatever it's going to be used as. So we would do the same. We would sell the pellets for our new material, and then those pellets would get used by the manufacturers. But the third element that we're adding to the cycle is this. We want to be able to collect them back. Y'all know, like, my grandma used to collect the cans and stuff and sell them. We want to empower people in our communities to do the same, whether it's at a construction site or at a bike shop or whatever it is, so they can collect that material and have a new revenue stream, sell it back to us. And the reason why it's convenient to us, it's because the circularity gives us really good numbers. So we're enabled by making it for $1,000 a ton and selling it for $1,800. We have the margin availability to pay equitably for the material collection to put it back in the cycle. To do this, though, we need your help. We're raising $500,000 to start the business. Again, he just graduated, so we need a lab space for research. So the $2,000 from this competition would go to that. But additionally, we really need you. We need all of your networks and your support to make this a reality here in Austin. Because we see a world in which all materials are made again, not just styrofoam. This is only the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Regenysys. We will turn it over to the judges for Q&A.
Hello? It's on? I'm curious, when you recollect it, I can imagine it's not in pristine condition. Like, how does that work when it was in a house or it wasn't on the floor and got stepped on or whatever? How do you account for that?
Yeah, so one of the beauties of this process is that you can actually separate all of the contamination away from the material so that the system that I think I showed on the previous slide, it dissolves in that. You can separate off any contaminants so that the system specifically also degrades the material that we're working with, and that becomes a liquid so they can easily separate that off from some of the other liquid contaminants. So it's a really robust process, and it can help account for the additional contamination that other EPS will normally get downgraded by.
So what is your value proposition, and how are you going to get customers to choose this over what they're already using?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. There's some bigger companies. I know there's something called Scope 3 emissions. There's chemical manufacturers, retailers are trying to reduce them by the year 2030. So, for example, REI is trying to reduce that by about 46%, and that's like basically the amount of emissions that's upstream or downstream of the process. And so, a lot of these brands are looking for alternatives, but they can't really find any because they're not cost efficient, and they also they don't meet the needs of those systems. So what we're hoping to do is partner with these brands that are trying to have these reductions for waste and for emissions, some that maybe are willing to pay a premium in the beginning, but ultimately driving the costs down over time so we can open up the market for these different opportunities.
And we've talked to a lot of companies, and so we know that they're interested in looking for solutions, but there just hasn't been alternatives that are not biodegradable and that have the properties that they need for insulation and protection and all that.
When you talk to them, were any of them, do they have closed loop processes already in place? You can hot swap stuff out?
Oh.
I've talked specifically with a company called Total Energies that recycles like pallet wrap, and so they actually pay specific companies like Amazon in their warehouses to get the material back, and then they incorporate that back into the system on the front end. So we're looking to do a similar process with companies that don't already have like those systems in place. So like bike helmets is a random example. They don't have a place to like bring in their materials back. Construction, it is a kind of like a barrier to entry to separate the material, but we found that when you pay specifically for that material helps them to desire to actually separate that material out. So those are some use cases.
Do you anticipate the pellets that you produce to require any modification from the manufacturers who are creating the end product?
Yeah, so that's what the research is going to be for, is to actually work with molders and manufacturers to see how does this mold, make sure that it looks well, to get all the certification and the testing done, so that we can just have like a drop-in replacement. They don't need new manufacturing facilities in order to build these different products.
And just coming out of UT, did you take advantage like Discovery to Impact and the patents and the proof of concept funds and all those kind of stuff? Like, where are you at on iCore and Discovery? And
Yeah, so I'm hoping to do iCore in the fall. I'm working with Corey and several other people in Discovery Impact. I just met a guy yesterday as well on the business development side, so I'm hoping to meet with him next week actually, and to really start utilizing their system for that.
and do you have the IP licensed and assigned?
Yeah, so we just filed a provisional patent on April 10th for both material and the regeneration process.
And we being you independently, or the university?
The university did,
Okay.
and then we're going to work with them for licensing and what that looks like. But
We really want this to be the Austin thing.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. All right, All right, thank you. Next up, we have Reimagin.It, pitched by founder Portia Sauls. Portia Sauls is the founder of Reimagin.It, a circular fashion startup transforming discarded textiles into elevated, accessible fashion. Inspired by her experience working with at-risk youth, she created Reimagin.It to combine sustainability, style, and self-expression through a community-centered fashion model. Let's give it up for Portia.
How many of you have stood in front of your closets and said, I don't have anything to wear? I can relate. What if I told you that there's a way that we can meet that need and not have to pay high costs for basic items?
Okay, we're just going to go through questions for this one then. Do you want to at least show the slides? Maybe do 20 seconds each slide?
That's all slides.
All
So
right.
let's talk it out. I looked at my closet today. I didn't know what pants to wear. And so how are you going to help me with that decision?
So Reimagin is bringing together both trendy upcycle secondhand clothing and a stylist on hand in one building to give you the full new thrift shopping experience. So they'll be there to give you guidance if you feel overwhelmed, but you might just find something pretty unique that might match your style.
Have these things been already upcycled, or when I go in and I pick something out, I go, hey, can you, I don't know, add some accoutrement to it?
We want to customize at some point down the line, but the goal would be that we would, when you come into the store, you would see the items already upcycled.
I saw one of the slides, closed loop. Where do you think you're getting a lot of the clothes from?
Mainly from donations from the community and partnerships through those those communities to create that closed loop of getting those continuous items.
So can you walk us through the business model? You're getting revenue by the consulting piece of it? Like, is that what
You'll
it is?
get revenue for both the upcycling piece because we'll be putting it out for resale, but then also you can book a session with one of the stylists and they'll be able to coach you on some pieces to put together for the look that you're trying to get. So it'll be two different forms of revenue that you'll get in one building.
And do you anticipate, so if I'm going to an 80s cover band night, can I call ahead, the party's on Saturday, can I call ahead and say, hey, I need help putting an outfit together, and there could be maybe some selections? Or is it I'm walking into the store and I'm having that interaction kind of one-on-one in person?
Yeah, that would definitely be the case. We'll have a calendar on our website so that you can book that session with them, and then from there they can start pulling things for you and kind of create that look for you that you're trying to go for.
For the stylist, and that's a really nice thing. I desperately need that all the time. And so that's a nice service to have. How are you finding those individuals to bring in?
Right now, it's just kind of doing a lot of networking events and then trying to form some relationships with ACC or, other fashion programs that are in the community. Even people who are just really passionate with creating looks. We tend to overlook those because they don't have the credentials and they usually have probably the best style. So we're open to receive anybody.
That's great.
Can you tell us a little bit about your target audience? Do you have different segments that you're looking at? I'm assuming you already, there are people who love to go out and hunt for their own, outfits at maybe a Goodwill or a thrift store. Is that your audience, or do you have other people in mind?
Mainly it's going to be women from 18 to late 50s, 60s. But the good thing about it is that the range in the pieces that we have can go from your Victorian goth to your girly girl with the floral prints. So there's a lot of option there. So it gives us a lot more room. But we're also including plus sizes and petite sizes. Those tend to be the most overlooked communities. So that also broadens the perspectives as well.
It feels like a great way to get non-previous thrifters into the fold, getting people to think about that. And I'm wondering can you propose a plan of how you would market this to people that maybe poo-poo thrifting and now
Yeah.
you bought them in?
Mainly, we're going to start with pop-ups. That's what the funding is for. We wanted to go ahead, because we are a startup, we want to go ahead and get the professional brand registration going. We want to start getting pop-up event equipment so we can start working the actual community, and then also contracting for our first seamstress to be able to put the pieces together.
All right, that's all the time we've got for Reimagin.It. Thank you, Portia. All right, this leads us into Curated Thrift, pitched by founder Maggie Seeds. Maggie Seeds is the founder of Curated Thrift, a personal styling service that makes secondhand fashion feel convenient, personal, and accessible. She helps clients rediscover their confidence and style while keeping sustainability at the heart. Curated Thrift is an Austin-based personal styling service rooted in our city's vibrant thrift scene while shipping nationwide. Let's give it up for Maggie.
Hello, everyone. I am Maggie with Curated Thrift, your personal stylist for all things secondhand. I like to meet my clients where they are, so I ask them how they want to show up in their lives, and then I thrift pieces specifically for them. I specialize in life transitions, so for me it was postpartum, but also dealing with clients going through menopause, weight changes, new job, new city, wherever you are, I'd like to help you show up in an affordable way. Shopping can be time-consuming and unpleasant if you don't feel connected to your personal style, and consumption of clothing is moving fast and waste is moving faster. Globally, we see a garbage truck full every second of clothing waste being sent to landfill or incinerated, and that's impacting vulnerable communities the hardest, who often have waste systems and environmental protections that are the weakest. So it becomes not just a personal choice, but a community one. And the rate of growth for the secondhand market is anticipated to outpace traditional retail in the next few years. So people are ready for change. They just need a bit of guidance to get there. So that's where my services come in. I like my clients to do intentional planning and make me a Pinterest board that I can then go personally thrift as many pieces as they're looking for. And I love to thrift at local thrift stores like Heartening and Treasure City that have a mutual aid ethos, Top Drawer, which supports families dealing with HIV and AIDS, and Austin Pets Alive, which supports no-kill shelters. And I do in-home styling as well as shipping nationwide so that I can help people experiment with their style without breaking the bank. And Austin has an amazing secondhand ecosystem, very supportive, but I'm very confident in finding a wide array of sizes and styles so that I can keep my price point accessible. I'm looking into partnerships with various thrift stores around town, pop-up markets, and I also recently turned a competitor into a collaborator when she went viral on TikTok and offers very similar services to me, so I reached out to take on overflow as she was inundated with 1 million views, which was a good proof of concept for me online as well. Joe came to me after a single mastectomy, trying to get out of that middle-age rut with dealing with medical complications, and we worked to find her inner rock star, both with everyday looks and performance looks, because she is in 2 bands, and she told me that she felt seen and that she felt like she had given a gift to herself, and that was really impactful and immediately impactful for me, and it was amazing to see. My first half of last year, I made about $8,000 in revenue, growing quarter over quarter while keeping costs steady. I'm growing organically on social media, trying to do education and as well as thrift tips and how to find gems. I regularly volunteer at Heartening, last year's winner, to keep in touch with the mutual aid community. And I'm very proud so far to continue growing. Speaking of growth, I'm looking to get into bachelorette and girls' weekend trips, which we all know are huge in Austin. They're often single-use outfits or themed occasions, and so I'd love to create a curated secondhand experience for outfits, accessories, and even decor, so that those events can feel special but without all the waste. I am also looking into doing a community thrift crawl with Almost Real Things Art Bus to create that sense of community and be the stylist on hand, guiding around local stores. So in terms of the prize money, I would spend it toward the upfront cost of renting the thrift bus, the building up inventory and equipment to efficiently serve bachelorette and girls' weekend parties in their rental homes, as well as beefing up my in-home styling to feel comfortable and professional at home.
And we gotta stop you right there, Maggie.
Thank you.
I'll turn it over to the judges for Q&A.
I have a question. So when you're wildly successful in 2 years, what does that look like? Is it just you still, or what does your company look like?
I would love to. I'm actually hiring a summer intern, a fashion and digital marketing student this summer, so I'm excited to try that out, learn the processes of bringing people on board. I see the other route to hiring people through the community events, through having people help me and eventually run their own girls' weekend, the kind of like on-site Airbnb running of that event to be fun. I think would be a great place to hire people. But yeah, I'd love to grow the team.
With the curated events, is it you have these things and then they leave them behind and go away? Or is it, here, I made these outfits for you and you take them with you and throw them away later?
Yeah, my plan is to follow Lucy in Disguise and do a rent or purchase model, and I can come and pick things up, and we'll start there and see how that goes of attempting rentals, and then if they want to purchase it and keep it. I like my theme things to be things that you would also wear in your everyday life, but I dress kind of funky, so.
And my other question is, if you curate this thing for people, is there a return policy? Is there a try it out and you didn't quite nail my style?
Yes,
how does that work?
style can be very vulnerable and very personal, and fitting and all of that is something that I'm continuing to learn. I have recently set up my processes for shipping that I include 4 extra items that are totally refundable, so that you can try things on and then keep them. If they all fit, that's amazing, or send them back at no cost for free shipping. And then when I do in-home styling appointments, it's more of like a consultative process, so they try things on, we talk about what they like, what they don't like, and they only go home with what they like.
And thinking about one of your clients, what's the average revenue you make on them and cost and like profit? Do you have a sense of that yet?
Yeah, so an average order size for me is about 10 pieces for $250, and items cost me usually less than $10 a piece.
Yeah, do you charge for your time to returning items, shopping at various stores? Seems like there's a lot of you time.
Yes. Right now I'm kind of feeling that startup energy of my plan and strategy is to start with prices fairly low and accessible, and then figure out when and where are the right places to raise prices over time. But yeah, the cost of clothes, and then I have kind of a styling fee on top of that. But I generally charge right now $25 an item, which I want it to feel accessible because they are thrift store pieces, so I want to maintain that kind of ethos.
And then kind of curious, like the first circle here, I imagine, is like your client's closet, right?
Yes.
They have a lot of items that they maybe don't know how to style together, and maybe bringing in new pieces into that. Are you doing some of that curation as well?
Yes, so I've recently completed my first closet clean out, where I went to her home and helped her go through donate, sell, keep, and also talk about what she liked in her closet that we could then, she came over yesterday actually for her styling appointment, and we kind of bulked that back up, and she, not to be dramatic, but she did say it changed her life, so.
All right. I
All right,
think
thank
we're all
you.
good. Thanks, Maggie. Okay, last up in the Accelerator division, we have Regrind, pitched by CEO Andrew Naminga. Andrew Naminga is an engineer, industrial designer, and founder of Regrind, an Austin-based startup revolutionizing recycling in the quick-serve restaurant and coffee space. With deep expertise in advanced hardware and product development, they're deploying AI-powered circular sink systems that turn single-use plastic and paper cups into high-value recovered flakes right at the source. No more landfill waste, just seamless contamination-free material recovery that feeds straight back into new cups and packaging. Let's give it up for Andrew.
All right. Thank you. All right, how you doing? My name's Andrew. I moved to Austin in 2018, and I fell in love with hot Texas summers and this hot weather. I love it. One of my favorite things to do when it's super hot and you just want to kick back is to hang at one of the Austin's 1,000+ coffee shops. Oh. See any of your favorites here? What's there? We even have over 100 Starbucks in Austin. It's really great. You know, coffee shops provide us jobs, safe spaces, and great creative environments we can all enjoy. I love it. But of course, we have a problem. Where do all the cups go? Okay, nobody knows. Over 500 billion single-use cups are thrown away each year, with less than 1% getting recycled. Starbucks alone generates 6 billion cups. What if there was a solution inside of your favorite coffee shop or Starbucks, the place you're at all the time? Well, meet Regrind. Regrind is an AI-powered waste sorting assistant that lives next to existing trash cans inside the stores. Customers simply place their empty cups on the ring, and onboard cameras scan and verify that it's clean and empty, relatively empty, and grind it into flake on the spot. Our staff then collects the flake and tracks it all the way back through processing centers to ensure that it's fully recycled. We're currently creating impact in Austin by designing and building hardware and software solutions. And in the future, we hope to expand and add drivers for our pickup service, technicians and warehouse staff, and assembly and warehouse workers, always while paying a livable wage. Excuse me. Our revenue model is threefold. We have a hardware system that we can lease or sell. We have a pickup service, so it would be a monthly pickup of the waste materials. And then we have a data reporting system. Okay. The physics are tough here because we're fighting an entropy with our waste material. And currently, we're paying an entropy tax 2 times. One, when we pick everything up and we mix it all together, and again, when we try to sort it all out. Quick service restaurants and coffee shops create huge volumes of daily materials. The numbers really start to add up when you look at it. And large chains create exponentially more materials. But the advantage of large chains is they're already looking for innovative, unique solutions to meet their sustainability goals. But it must be done at scale. Thousands and thousands of stores need to be active so that they can make an impact. And that's what we're gearing up for. We don't just shred and collect. We actually have partnerships with processors, like, for example, Redo, an advanced chemical processor, that can take the materials, take our output, and turn it back into high-value raw materials. This is another tough slide. I just visited the Essential facility, and it was like mind-blowing. But it confirmed what we thought, is that the centralized recycling model fails for stuff like cups because they're low density, they're empty, you're moving a lot of air, you're mixing it all up with everything else. So our decentralized on-site collection, densification, and then collection works to solve that problem. Run on forever, sorry. We want the coffee shops to keep doing what they're doing and make the best experience for their customers. I love the coffee shop experience. We want to focus on creating high-value raw materials from those empty cups. I'm looking for some pilot partners. If you know anybody, coffee shop, anything. Also, introductions to sustainability leaders. Any prize monies that we are awarded will go towards building more demo units. We have a few now. We just want to keep building more. Thank you,
All right, I got to stop you.
Thank you.
All right, you can hang on to. All right, I'll hand it over to the judges. Questions about Regrind.
Okay, are we garbage disposal, paper shredder, or quieter?
It's actually very quiet. Plastic cups are very thin. They're very easy to cut. And they only take about 2 seconds to eat up 1 cup. But yeah, paper shredder in the side of the machine there, drops in, shreds it up.
Okay, and anecdotally, I feel like I've seen models of reusable cups at some of these large, like Starbucks.
Yes.
Seemingly, those experiments haven't scaled.
Yes.
Do you know why they haven't, and how your solution will address some of the shortcomings there?
A lot of people, from what I've been doing some research, like that cup as like a souvenir cup. So the cups leave and they never come back. In this case, and I think one of our big challenges will be getting the cup, especially Starbucks, it wants to leave, getting the cup back and incentivizing the customer to bring the cups back so that we can recycle the cups.
So behavior at disposal is notoriously hard.
Yes.
What is your evidence that this will work like it should?
Yes.
And are you going to find a lot of other things thrown into that receptacle?
We will prevent the other things. With our camera and AI system, it's actually identifying down to the type of material the cup is made out of level. So not just that, hey, this is a cup, random paper cup or anything. We can actually identify that this is a Starbucks polypropylene cup or a Taco Bell cup or whatever it is. We are fighting the consumer behavior always, but with partners like Starbucks or these large chains that want to make an impact, I think with incentivification and maybe some gamification, we can get there.
As a kind of an add-on to that, how does it reject it?
It just says, no. And, our scanner, you place the cup on there, and it takes 1 second to scan. And we are currently building out a couple different models for expanding to plastic cups of all types. But if we're looking for a specific type of plastic cup, like for example, Starbucks cups are a specific material, we will politely say, hey, that's not the right cup. Or if it's too contaminated with trash or food waste or something, we ask the user to clean the cup and then put it back.
And if the cup goes in dirty, which to Alina's point, does that just ruin the whole batch?
No,
what's the
absolutely not.
effect on the downstream?
No, absolutely not, because we will use various processes. Similar to Dr. Longo's chemical process, there are chemical processes that we can take contaminated material in and extract the high-value materials that we want.
So I think you described that the coffee shops or stop establishments will pay you.
Yes.
What evidence do you have for that, and how do they make it back up, or is this purely kind of green targets?
I hope that they will be able to make it back up, but I doubt it because this whole waste ecosystem is very expensive. But I'm really leveraging on that it's mandated from up above. It's mandated from their corporate structures. Starbucks, just like the city of Austin, has these mandates and has these goals that they are so far away from achieving, they're begging for solutions. That's been my current experience talking with Starbucks now, and after seeing it real life with the city. And they have so much money, so.
It sounds like you've done some of the market research. What are like the big questions that they have? What are some of the barriers you feel like you're going to have to overcome initially?
Absolutely. The questions that you asked about contamination are huge, and finding solutions for contamination, which we've been working on with our newest partner, Redo. They have a chemical recycling process, so we can actually take more types of cups. And so not just polypropylene cups, we can take all types of plastic cups or plastic water bottles, anything that are mixed. So that is very helpful.
All right, thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
So that concludes the accelerator division of tonight's pitches. Now we're going to move on into the second division, which is the showcase competitors. These are the more established businesses, and they're competing tonight for a $10,000 grand prize. First up, we have That's So Austin. Pitch. I was afraid that I was going to do that tonight. First up, That's So Austin, pitched by founder Raven K. That's So Austin founder Raven K is an award-winning fashion designer, sewing educator, and community builder passionate about making sewing more accessible and sustainable. Through That's So Austin, Raven has created a community-focused creative space centered around education, repair, reuse, and hands-on skill building that empowers people to make, mend, and create with confidence. Also joining in support of That's So Austin today is Ciara, whose support, encouragement, and behind-the-scenes help played an important role in shaping the pitch deck you're about to see. They're incredibly grateful for her support of the organization and its mission. Let's give it up for Raven.
$17 million tons of textiles entered the U.S. waste stream in 2018. I'm Raven. Hi, I'm the founder of That's So Austin. It's very nice to meet you guys. We are a shared sewing studio expanding access through repair, reuse, making, while helping push Austin's circular textile future forward. Our mission, That's So Austin is a shared use sewing studio. Again, we focus on education, reuse, and repair. We want to keep it out of the landfill before it ever makes it there in the first place. Instead of everyone buying expensive tools, equipment, we give Austin residents access to sewing machines, spaces, knowledge, and everything they need in order to mend, alter, and repair. We have 6 paid staff and a team of volunteers. We serve everyone from ages 7 up to 70. There's the occasional 6-year-old, but most of them are 7 and 70. Working professionals, retirees, beginners to advanced sewists, queer people, POC people, LGBTQIA affirming, and Black female led, for sure. Again, that 17 million tons is massive. We want to try and keep it out of there before it ever gets there. Of that 17 million, 11.3 million tons were landfilled and only 14.7% were recycled. Every second, again, the equivalent of a garbage truckload of clothes is burned or buried. Austin has a massive 90% goal when it comes to trying to keep things out of the landfill by 2040. That's how Austin makes zero waste tangible through reuse, repair, and sewing education. We replace disposal with repair. We replace ownership with access. We replace waste with skill building. Shared studio machines, classes instruction, community reuse and repair. People leave with repaired textiles, new skills, and things that they can move forward with. 9 months of the extension over a piece of garment. If we can extend it, we can keep carbon, water, and waste. Up to 20% of that is reused, and then less than 1% of clothing material is recycled into new clothing. Austin has a diversion rate of 2024, 37.4%. And then when it comes to what that looks like in real life, we're looking at 2 thrifted shirts right now. All that's left of it has been shredded via a commercial shredder so that it can be reused into something like this. It keeps it out of the landfill completely. It never even makes it there in the first place. Austin is already doing about 1.1 billion in economic activity when it comes to reusing, and about 6,300 jobs. Our current model is tiered. We are a tiered membership. We're very much like a gym. We make our revenue via studio time, private lessons, and pattern printing. We're doing about 150,000 per year, and we're only 2.5. Our next step is to extend access via keyless entry, improve repair and scrap impact via tracking, and then getting a commercial shredder so that we can do this at scale. I had to do this on a paper shredder. It was not fun. Equity in community is incredibly important to me. The biggest thing is that people cannot do this work without community. Most people do not know how to sew. They have to be taught by someone. We've all tried YouTube University. It's difficult. This is what it looks like if we win the 10K. We're gonna do keyless access. We're gonna get that fabric shredder. We're going to use our storage system so that we can better track things. We'll work on those partnerships and logistics that we already have in progress. And then we'll work on some more programming and setup so that we can have community days where people come in and shred their fabrics. And that's us. That's So Austin.
Thank you, Raven. We'll turn it over to the judges.
Cool beans.
Can you talk a little bit about your current membership?
Yeah.
Who are those people?
Oh my God, they're great. We have everyone from, let's see, again, our little ones. We only have about 10 of those. We actually primarily serve adults. So most of our demo tends to be girlies in tech and or people that work from home that need to effectively touch grass, but instead of touching grass, they touch fabric.
And how do people find out about you?
Oh, yeah, we already exist. So we're like not far either. We're over on East Caesar. You can find us on Instagram, and we also have a very robust website. I'm actually rebuilding our entire booking platform right now, which is so fun. But we'll have a white label app at the end of that, which then opens the door for franchising.
And what are your initiatives around marketing?
What do you mean by initiatives?
Like to grow, like for awareness?
Oh, mostly Instagram, to be honest. We do run paid ads on Meta, but it's not something that we really need at this point. Most people in the sewing community talk. It's a pretty small
community. So word of mouth?
A lot of it is word of mouth, but if it's not that, it is advertising.
Okay, perfect, thanks.
And can you pick it up on the question, how many of your, the folks using the facilities are making money? Or is this just pastime, or they're doing stuff personally, or And what's that split?
A little bit of both. So we get a ton of entrepreneurial people that are like, I want to start a business, but I have no idea how to sew and I don't have enough money to send it off to factory. We teach them how to make their initial prototypes so they can then take that, go get a tech pack, and then send it off to factory if that's what they want. I have a background in like more traditional fashion aspects, so the corporate side of things. I can help them with their tech packs to get ready for factory.
So you mentioned the shredder as being something you'd spend your money on. So if you use it to make things like that, is that part of your revenue model, is to sell these little cushions?
Yes, it would be a part of it, or we would sell the fiber fill to other companies that wish to do something similar.
And is the shredding part of the membership, or it sounded like you also might have it open to people to come and shred?
Yes, we would have community days where people that are not necessarily members be able to bring us their fabric scraps and shred those as well. Honestly, we're not looking to make a whole lot of money off of this when it comes to the fiber fill in small quantities like that. We'd rather send it back with that same sewist and let them reuse it. At scale, we would sell it to other businesses.
That's super cool. And by the way, your bow tie is spectacular.
Thank you. Very much on brand.
Just thinking about the studio itself, what utilization rate gets you to break even versus like what are your profit targets?
Oh, let me
Those
tell
kind
you.
of questions,
Okay,
yeah.
so our business model is great. We do a 50-50 split with our teachers. So our teachers are making more money with us than they could literally make anywhere else teaching sewing unless they're at a collegiate level. When it comes to our profit margins, we are doing well. I hesitate to I don't want to increase membership rates until I feel like I'm giving them an added benefit, which is why I'm redoing our entire booking system. It's going to gamify us a little bit. So it'll give them rewards points for when they come into the studio, if they show up to events, if they bring us shred. All of those things are gonna happen in there, which would definitely raise our utilization. But currently, we kind of sell out on the weekends, and then we have people in from noon until 9 o'clock at night. And those are the only hours we have currently. So with that keyless access, they'll be in there a lot more, especially the moms. They want early hours. I'm not getting up that early.
I like this term shred. I was going to ask where the source material typically comes from. Are people bringing their own scraps, or do you take donations or divert from other sources?
A little bit of both. What we're trying to shred is something that literally cannot be used in any other manner. So it's so small that you can't really sew it into something else. So that's really what we want to focus on shredding. Any of the bigger pieces, we actually color sort those, so they're used for visible mending. So those don't get shredded because they're so useful.
And where do those come from?
Those also come from the community and or the projects that are occurring within the studio.
All right, thank you so much, Raven. Up next, we have FitDel, pitched by founder and CEO, Dr. Kyle May. Please welcome Dr. Kyle May, founder and CEO of FitDel, a 4-time startup founder with an MS, PhD, and background as a Johns Hopkins principal investigator and Fortune 500 executive. Kyle brings 13 years of experience in the rental industry to building circular solutions that keep fitness equipment out of landfills. Give it up for Kyle.
All right, thank you very much. So we are FitDel. We're Austin's circular fitness equipment rental company. Our mission is very simple. We are keeping premium fitness equipment in use and not in landfills. We've been delivering, installing, and maintaining premium equipment for Austin homes for over 12 years. So the problem that we have per the EPA is that only about 6% of fitness equipment gets recycled in the US. So that means 94 of it winds up in landfills or gets incinerated. Obviously, that's the direct result of our buy, use, discard linear economy. So what FitDel does is we close the loop. And so for our solution, we're sourcing equipment. Sometimes it's new, sometimes it could be used, we could be pulling it out of. As an example, we just pulled a full gym out of the Domain, one of their hotels. All of that equipment, weights, treadmills, ellipticals, et cetera, was headed for the landfill. So we were able to go grab all that equipment and then bring it back into our warehouse, refurb it, and now it's back into the rental life cycle. So that's not just projection. This is what FitDel does, and this is FitDel working. So our team, we've got 4 co-founders. They have a combined experience of over 40 years in rentals, in software, and in logistics. So we have the team that we've been doing this for quite a long time. The 37-year, Mark Peterson's got 37 years of experience with specifically fitness equipment across all brands, which allows us to have quite a large footprint across the equipment that we can actually handle and then offer. So for our circular and environmental impact, 100% of our equipment is re-rented. So over 12 years that we've been doing this, none of our equipment has made it to a landfill. We have used everything. We keep it in as pristine condition as we can, and it keeps going. The 5x decrease in manufacturing means that that same treadmill can be used, or that piece of equipment is going to be used by that many different people. And so instead of one piece being purchased and then discarded, it comes back to us, we put it back out. The local economic impact, so we're the invisible infrastructure for a lot of the businesses in the Austin area. So we're working with Four Seasons, Renaissance, Netflix Productions, Concordia, Sundance Apartments, the running event, and every dollar that's being spent with FitDel stays here in the Austin community. So with regard to our unit economics, there's a lot of data on this slide, so I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. We hit, after over 12 years of doing this, we have about 95% utilization, and that gives us a 70% operating margin, $115 per a piece of equipment per month. And then so every $1,500 landed cost piece of equipment delivers about a little over $7,700 in net profit over its 10-year life. So we're already in a lot of the Austin community, across a lot of the different Austin communities, such as Sundance Apartments, Dynamic Systems, corporate gyms, Lululemon, Nike pop-ups, and the fleet that I mentioned that we rescued from the Domain. When we bring stuff like that in, then that's done here locally, and we try to source whatever components or things that we need from local vendors. So we're keeping everything as local as possible. How we would use the money. So the main thing that we hear from our customers, and we've been hearing this over and over and over again, they didn't know that we exist. So we've tried 42 different advertising channels. We keep trying more and more. So $4,000 is going to go towards us attempting another 8. We usually put about $500 per channel.
All right, got to stop
That's
you right
it.
there. Thank you, Kyle. I will turn it over to the judges for questions.
How do you guys address the liability of equipment that you don't have? Well, it sounds like you're refurbishing it, but yeah, is there risk involved in this leasing model?
Terms and conditions in our contract language.
Release.
Yes.
Okay. And is all of the equipment, are you taking that at no cost? Like you're providing
Some
that?
of it is.
Okay. But some you're purchasing?
Some we have to purchase new. When we started in 2013, our biggest uphill challenge was that providers would not sell us equipment because they thought we would be cannibalizing their sales. So after time, we have a lot more data. We can actually show them it's more of the pie is getting bigger, because less than 15% of our customers would actually purchase fitness equipment, but clearly 100% of them want it. So they're missing out on 85% of the market. And so by offering rentals, and Peloton figured this out eventually too in 2022 when they started offering rentals.
It seems like a lot of your business is B2B, not direct to us consumers.
60%.
What's the balance? Yeah.
60% is residential, 30% is commercial, and the other 10% is split between concierge and events. So the majority is residential.
And how much of your equipment is bought new versus
Refurbished
acquired? Yeah.
or free? I'd say we're probably around 65-70% is new, and the rest of it is coming from Domain or other gyms that they're getting rid of their equipment.
And eventually, you'll have to get rid of something, right?
So it's interesting. The stuff that we focus on, which is primarily cardio, but we also do have weight machines, if you're not going to the really crazy high-end stuff, which we don't, we tried it one time and we had a 100% failure rate of the screens. So we don't do the really crazy high-end treadmills. We do stuff that's commercial, it's gonna last, it's got LED, and so there isn't that substantial of a change. And treadmills can last anywhere from 85 to 100,000 miles. So they have a very long lifespan.
But do the styles not change where people want the latest and greatest, or do you have them wanting you to pick it up and bring them a newer model?
We rarely hear that, actually, surprisingly enough.
From like a economic standpoint, is it cheaper to rent the used equipment compared to financing? Like the purchase of, on a monthly payment plan or something on a Peloton?
So the main reason that our customers rent as opposed to buy something is they're not sure they're going to use it, number one. So they may only get it for a month or 6 months or something, not knowing. And then also we have a lot of customers like to swap. They'll start with a tread, they get elliptical, get a rower, switch to a bike, all sorts of things, because people don't have unlimited space and they don't want multiple pieces of equipment. And so giving them that flexibility really affords them the opportunity to have a wide range of equipment.
And what's the minimum rental term for a piece of equipment?
An hour. We have people rent for an hour for a photo shoot or for movies. So that's, our average on residential is actually approaching 39 months. People will be with us on a contract.
If you were going to expand into one or the other, residential versus B2B, which is the better business opportunity?
Margins are higher on B2B, but the equipment gets used a lot more. So there's a lot more maintenance. There's a little bit more overhead. I wouldn't just focus on one. If I had to just focus on something, I'd just do event rentals because those are fantastic and they're really interesting.
Got to stop you right there. Thanks, Kyle. Up next, we have Pickle Envy, pitched by owner Libby Goldman. Libby is the owner and lead fermenter at Pickle Envy, a queer-owned fermentation business dedicated to reconnecting Austinites to their hyper-local food system. They teach fermentation skills and transform locally grown crops into Austin's favorite pickles, sauerkrauts, kimchis, and more. They're supported tonight by Jenny Atmar, Shay Smith, Nia Teague, and Ale Alcaraz. Let's give it up for Libby.
Hi, y'all. I'm Libby, and I started Pickle Envy. We transform locally grown organic vegetables into live and probiotic pickles via the power of fermentation. Since we started back in 2023, we've distributed over 20,000 pounds of locally grown fermented veggies right back into the community here in Austin. A little about me. I am from a Jewish family in Chicago, and I grew up loving Jewish deli pickles. It turns out that this flavor that I crave is from fermentation, not from vinegar pickling. So that means it's got all of these amazing gut-healthy probiotics, and it's got that distinct funky flavor. Because of that, I spent a long time experimenting, trying to figure out what was the best pickle recipe. So I realized that eating locally was super important to our food system and to our climate. Pickle Envy's mission is to build climate resilience and food sovereignty in Austin by transforming locally grown vegetables into living foods that connect people to their bodies, their local farmers, and back to our ecosystem. We envision a climate-resilient Austin where everyone has access to healthy foods powered, again, by our farmers, microbes, which I'm gonna talk about, and our community. All right, here's a problem, y'all. Y'all have a copy of the Austin Food Plan in front of you. According to Austin's food plan, only 0.06% of food consumed in Central Texas is locally produced. That means 99.9% of food that we are eating relies on global supply chains, which creates massive amounts of emissions. Y'all, this is not just a problem of waste. This is the climate crisis happening right here in Austin. So we obviously need a paradigm shift. We need a transformation away from global systems back towards our local community. The antidote to globalism is localism. We are doing this through community-driven fermentation. We are keeping food and skills in Austin through feeding people, educating people, and empowering them to do their own fermentation. So what is fermentation? Fermentation is a transformation done by microbes. This is the same thousands-of-year-old process that turns milk into yogurt, it turns grapes into wine, and it turns cucumbers into pickles. People have been doing it for generations to preserve seasonal crops and to cultivate those good gut-healthy microbes that we need. Every single human culture, all of us, have some tradition of fermentation. Sour pickles just happen to be part of mine. So our circle always starts with local farmers. We have worked with upwards of 20 different small Austin farmers here in Central Texas, most of whom are women and people of color. And we don't just do cucumbers, y'all. For example, last fall, a bunch of our farmers risked losing hundreds of pounds of tomatoes and thousands of dollars in profits because of a freeze. So instead of wasting all of this product, we bought it up and we transformed it into one of our best-selling products. You'll have it in front of you, our sour green tomatoes. And we only distribute locally. We sell at 3 weekend farmers markets. We accept food stamps, so more people have access to our products. And our regulars at the farmers markets love our jar return program. They have returned over 1,500 jars so far, and we sell at 20 local shops and restaurants. I don't just sell ferments, I teach people how to do it themselves. This belongs to everyone. Our workshops start at $15, so anybody can come and learn how to do this themselves. And my community is everything. We pay a living wage to all of our staff. Half of our staff are farmers. All of us come from marginalized backgrounds, and we all believe people deserve access to good food. With $10,000, I would like air conditioning in my kitchen for the health of the pickles and the people. We need help with our farmers market coolers, and I want to support my employees with a bonus. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll turn it over to the judges for questions about Pickle Envy.
So what is your revenue, annual revenue, and what is your, what is the biggest growth initiative that you have underway?
Yes, excellent question. So last year, 2025 revenue is about $180,000. This year, we're on track to surpass $200,000 in revenue. And the biggest area that we're growing in is wholesale. So we actually grew our sales by 55% from 24 to 25 by selling at local grocery stores like Wheatsville, Tiny Grocer, places like that, and local restaurants. So my growth plan is wholesale to restaurants and groceries.
And is it shelf stable or is it fridge?
Fridge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's alive. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Y'all can open it, taste it, smell it.
The supply side, where are you getting the ingredients from?
That's from our local farmers.
Is it that tend to be one-off, or are there like long-term volume agreements and stability? Like, how does that work?
Great question. So we actually prioritize working with small farmers just getting started in their farm journey. We partner with FarmShare Austin, which is an organization that teaches farming, and they provide programs for people who historically wouldn't have access to land to get really cheap leases and farm on that land for 3 years. So we work with small farmers like that, some of which sell to us every season, every year. Some people are only in operation for a season. But to us, it's worth paying the premium to support a small farmer versus, going to the grocery store or something like that.
What would you estimate of your produce is coming from the excess versus new? Or I guess it's all new, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Actually, it's not all new. So the tomatoes are a good example of something that comes from farmer excess, and some of our products actually come from our waste as well. So fermenting a pickle is kind of hard. They don't always turn out good. One of our best-selling products is a pickle dip. So we grind up the pickles that don't turn out with the best crunchy texture, but they still have good flavor. We add some yogurt, we add fresh herbs, and it turned into, one of our best-selling products. So the pickle dip, we make a relish out of pickles like that. We sell the fermented garlic that we put in the pickles, so we don't really waste anything. We also partner with local composters, so we don't throw anything in the trash.
And what are some of your biggest challenges right now? Supply, demand, air conditioning, obviously.
Geez, where to begin? I think trying to break into the restaurant scene, to be honest with you. We have one local restaurant right now that our food is all over their menu. They're my best customer. They're amazing. But I'm not a chef. I don't have a background in this. I worked in nonprofit before this. So trying to get with chefs and get people to understand that it's worth paying a little bit more for a local craft healthy product on their menus. You guys should eat the pickles.
All right, we'll end on that note. Okay, last but not least, we have Wanderlust Wine Co., pitched by owner and founder Sammy Lamb. Sammy Lamb is the founder of Wanderlust Wine Co., a minority family-operated winery that is recognized as a Platinum Green Business Leader by the City of Austin. He leads the company's innovation in circular wine packaging and community initiatives across Central Texas. Let's give it up for Sammy.
This always happens. I drink like 5 Waterloos or sparkling waters and then makes me go really quick. All right, here we go. Howdy, y'all. My name is Sammy Lamb, owner and founder of Wanderlust, and I'm so excited to be here to be talking about our circular wine ecosystem that we're building as we aim to become the go-to wine for sports and entertainment venues. So when we started Wanderlust, we were looking to address a major problem in the wine industry, and that is how wasteful it is by its primary use and adoption of single-use glass bottles for packaging. We're like, there's got to be a better way. Glass is inefficient, and quite technically and literally for operators and business owners, they're pouring margins down the drain. And a lot of times, as you see here for large stadiums and arenas, there's massive waste. For example, Q2, having around 8 tons of waste per game. So we said there has to be something. How can Wanderlust make a change in the world through wine? And we said we found the win wine solution that you see here that has the 3 Bs: better for customers, better for the environment, and better for business. And it's quite simple. It goes back to, here's my little laser, a 20-liter stainless steel keg that is circular in nature, can live up to 30 years in operations, and diverts 26 single-use glass bottles every single time it's being tapped into. On top of its circularity, it extends product freshness for up to 12 months for operators, and overall helps operational efficiency for businesses to be able to improve service, flow, and overall reduce transportation emissions as well as storage inefficiencies. Through this commitment to sustainability and our concept, we've been able to achieve these milestones right here. The most proud that we are right here is becoming certified as a carbon neutral company through Climate Hound in the house today. We've diverted over 500,000 single-use glass bottles from ending up in our Travis County landfills. We increased our waste diversion from 30% to 52% in 2025, and growing, baby, let's hit it. And one of the biggest things is also City of Austin recognized our intent and gave us the Platinum Award as a green business leader. Now, one of the coolest things that I get to say is that we can use 2 key words in the same sentence: sustainability and scalability. What? So earlier this year, we became the official wine of the San Antonio Spurs and Austin FC. Go Spurs, go. And since then, we've been able to gain lots of attention and traction with all these venues and stadiums that you see here across our state and even outside of the state of Texas. I'll just go back here real quick. We're already incorporated, offering our products on tap there. In terms of our business strategy, like, well, what are they trying to do? It's so simple. We're trying to be the Michelob Ultra of wine. Michelob has become the go-to beer for sports and entertainment venues, and we want to do the same for wine. Through these sports affiliations, we're additionally adding wholesale acquisition into our mix of things, allowing us to tap into the big market. So we talked about those 3 Bs. It's the 3 Bs right again here, is we focus on the on-premise side of things, but right now, to be more obtainable, we're focusing on the top 40 large stadiums and venues here across the state of Texas. And with the support that we have here in the team, or here from you guys, we're seeking to scale our efforts through acquiring an electric fleet so that we can increase our footprint in the market, but not in emissions, and build brand visibility and reinvest back into our community, and hopefully become the team that you guys are rooting for here out of Austin, Texas. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sammy. Judges, questions?
Yeah, what's your current employee count?
The economy has been really tough. We went from close to 75, 50 part-time and seasonal, and about 20 full-time, to now just 7. We're a strong, small minority-owned, family-operated business. It's been very difficult to survive in this economy, in this market. But again, this year has been, even in crisis, there's opportunity. So even with all these headwinds that we're facing, we were able to become and attain some of these high recognitions as the official wine. So we're aiming to resume that status and immediately start investing in the scalable side of the business, which is wholesale and distribution.
Yeah, I've heard like the wine industry is facing a lot of headwinds right now. Are you at an advantage by going with this like larger format, long shelf life option?
Exactly. So when we talk about the fact that we're getting into these stadiums and arenas, not only are we providing something that has, again, the 3 Bs, but we're using those same affiliations to then go out into market and become the go-to wine for these local accounts, providing this circular wine ecosystem for us. And so on top of that, differentiating our product, being able to become something that people aspire to go to. People are still going out and spending money on sports and entertainment. And so that's where we want to become the go-to brand for those opportunities.
So I remember you from 2 years ago, and so talk to us about like the biggest lesson you've learned over the last couple of years, a hard lesson that is going to make your business stronger.
Never give up. I'm still here standing. Let's get it. Also, differentiate yourself, but don't try to reinvent the wheel. I've shown you all the little canteens over the years, and that gets our foot in the door. But at the end of the day, we adapt to something that is commonly known and recognized and easy for people to grasp their brains around. In terms of that, Michelob has opened the path, in terms of draft systems. So we dingle the carrot with the canteen, but they go back to the stainless steel. So never give up, differentiate, but don't reinvent the wheel, just make it better.
Can you remind me, you guys make your own wine?
We make some on our own, but we outsource. And one of the easiest ways to understand this, when it comes to wine, you can name 10 different wines from 10 different countries. So our comparable is Archer Roos, if y'all are familiar with the brand. They source wines from the trending regions around the world. So what we want to do is provide value to our partners, our concessionaires, reducing their wine list to the things that are actually pushing and selling, and then we get to work with those small family producers out of those regions. But we do focus a lot here in Texas as well.
One of the things the canteens did was it made the final consumable kind of reusable as opposed to pouring it into glass, which goes in the trash. How has that been addressed since you kind of go back to large format kegs?
So I know we got a few seconds. So the first thing I'll mention is those canteens, and this is the biggest lesson. Q2 has a partnership with who? Yeti, and Yeti owns the rights to stainless steel, so we cannot have our wine canteens there. So we went to stainless steel kegs. However, they do incorporate reusable growlers and vessels, and this is a common trend across many different venues all over the state where you can buy growlers, souvenir cups, and things that ultimately fans can take home, bring back, reuse, refill, and ultimately the circularity then goes with something that goes beyond the kegs.
It's a shame because I can imagine if you're at a stadium and there's 4 of you, getting one of your growlers to take back to your seat as opposed to 4.
We're still working on the other venue angles. The coolest thing is, or the interesting thing is, if y'all know Twisted Tea, they became a famous, popular brand overnight because of the viral meme where the guy hit the other guy in the gas station. They said, we don't want that to happen with Wanderlust and become an overnight meme. But ultimately, we can invest in vessels that can be reused and repurposed and refilled at the venue and ultimately bring back that customer.
All right.
Thank you all
Thanks
so
so
much.
much, Sammy. All right, let's hear it one more time for all of our competitors and the judges. Okay, we're going to give the judges a couple of minutes to finish up their scores, and while they're doing that, I'd love to tell you a little bit more about the Circular Economy Program here in Austin. We've got 3 main pillars. The first one is supporting business innovation, so that's through pitch competitions like this. It's through the Circular Accelerator Program, where we provide coaching and business classes. It's through events and roundtables and networking events. We also encourage residential behavior change, so we have fix-it clinics where you can come and get your items mended if you've got jewelry. See Nancy, she's the best. And we also do a partnership program with UT called Move Out ATX. All of the student leases end at the same time on July 31st, and they all dump all of their stuff into West Campus streets. So our team works to retrieve all of that stuff and recirculate it back into the community. And then finally, we also lead by example. So we have a team that focuses on internal city operations. We have hundreds of buildings that we occupy all throughout the city. So they work on making sure that they have appropriate waste diversion, sustainable purchasing guidelines, and just being a good steward of circularity within the city. You can find out more about what we do at austintexas.gov/circular economy. And then finally, we want to know how we did tonight. We're here to support the community of Austin. We work for you, the residents. So let us know how we did. If you don't have your phone out, go ahead and grab it, scan this QR code. Just take a few minutes to fill that out, give us some feedback, what we can improve, what we did well, and we read every single survey and we'll take it into consideration for next year. All right, I am going to release y'all to network, grab some additional food, drinks if you didn't eat beforehand. If you are feeling shy, you can ask a fellow attendee how they participate in the local circular economy. And we will be back with, we're gonna crunch the scores and we'll be back to announce the winners. Okay, awesome. Before I announce the winner of the Circular Accelerator Division, I want to tamper your disappointment. We've got a reusable check here, so we're going to announce the first winner, then we're going to go off stage for a couple of minutes, erase everything, and fill it in with the showcase winner. All right, so the winner of the Circular Accelerator Division and the $2,000 prize is Regenysys. And if y'all would like to say something, you're welcome to.
We're so honored. This is the first money, the beginning of Regenysys right here. So we're really grateful. And I want to give a huge shout out to you and to the program, and also to Portia, to Maggie, and to Andrew. It's been so fun doing this with you. And also, this dress was thrifted by Maggie. Along with other pieces that are now in my closet, so please support them as well. But yeah, we're so grateful.
Yeah, again, this is just the first step in our journey. It's going to take a lot to get there, but again, this is just the start, and we're really excited. So thank you all for your support and help with all this process. Thanks.
We're going to take this check away, and then we'll be back to announce the showcase winner. All right, y'all, we're ready to announce the grand prize winner. All right, before we announce the winner, I'd love for y'all to give it up one more time for all the contestants tonight. They did such an amazing job. And let's hear it for our volunteer judging panel as well. All right, without further ado, the winner of tonight's Circular Showcase Grand Prize of $10,000, that's right, go ahead and make a fake drum roll. Pickle Envy.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. The biggest thank you in the world to my amazing partner, Jenny Atmar. They are the wind beneath my wings. And I also want to thank all of our staff, Ale Alcaraz, Nia Teague, Shay Smith, Soph Amstutz. I just have the best team ever, and I'm so grateful for y'all. My partner put out the pickles for y'all to eat, so please taste them. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight and supporting circular businesses here in Austin, Texas. If you want to participate next year, we'll open applications in the fall to compete in the 2027 Circular Showcase. Thank you very much. And